Guys, we're back. Technical issues aside for Rifkin. Welcome back to the Kaspersky Arena. 1,000 euro put into this, 400 currently worth in this final round. It's the last best of 5 to happen today. It is currently tied up 1-1. Now, MaNa, before we talk about introductions, has put down that pylon, is already sending a probe out, so we may see something cheeky.
Ew.
We'll keep an eye on it. For now, though, spawning in the top left corner of the map, playing for Mouse Sports, representing that team color red. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Mouse MaNa.
And on the bottom left, as the blue Zerg, it is liquid TLO. And what MaNa is doing is pretty smart. I said, I think on Frost, TLO would go for the 3-hatch before pool again. And because MaNa goes for the gateway expand, well, MaNa's thinking that too.
And so was
he's
TLO,
not getting
perhaps.
a forge. He's not getting a forge. He's actually going up to Nexus.
I think that's just because he couldn't scout right away. If he had scouted the first one, maybe the forge would have come down immediately. But because he missed it, thinks his timings are going to be off. But TLO, perhaps anticipating this, like some meta gaming going on, did go pool first. Like I said, though, in the last game, I'm not expecting him to play greedy. It's not that MaNa shut him down once and they got startled by it, but it's the fact that he recognized MaNa knew how to react to a greedy build, that it's not worth going greedy again, because the same thing will happen. Now, the forge is delayed, but TLO did not put an overlord over this natural zombie grub. Even though this is the last scout, the awkward scout, he might still be able to get away with a small investment of cannons.
I don't know. I mean, the pool's already done. He's not getting lings. He doesn't think he needs them, but they'll finish so fast, it's not worth it. Yeah. And I guess his plan wasn't to go ahead and do the forge, because usually if you do want a cannon rush on a big map, you always send out 2 probes to make sure that you're able to get there in time. So his whole idea, I guess, is that on Frost, he just happens to like forge fast expands.
Yeah, it's not like it's a poor way to play the matchup either. It kind of locks you in for the first like 11 minutes saying, well, you can either all-in me or sit back and let me macro.
Yeah. The Overlord's going to be able to see this. I don't think TLO's on any other scouting besides Overlord scouting. Yeah, so does confirm MaNa's in the top left, and also confirms the Forge Fast expand. Not necessarily. I think that Nexus finished so fast, though, that it would be.
What I am a little curious about, though, is do we see those fast Mutalisks? I mean, he just saw how well he worked against MaNa, but I think a large part of that was because he caught MaNa at a very inappropriate timing for MaNa, that is. Like, Blink got sniped. That was painful. The second Stargate came down, but TLO was already on top of the production, right? Like, I think if MaNa had been given, like, an extra 30 seconds in that last game, it wouldn't have ended through the Mutalisk harass. Do you think he goes for it again, or do you think we're going to see Roach Hydra right off the bat?
I think he goes for it again. Like, he could do it like just straight into Mutalisk, or he could do the Ling Hydra push again. That might be more probable, but I definitely think Frost is a good map to go for Mutas. I mean, is it really a bad map? I don't know, but Frost definitely.
Well, let's be honest. No, probably not. There's a particular style we're probably not going to see out of anything today. TLO is the one guy who, I gotta say, if you gotta compare players to skill, that's fine, whatever. But Teal is the one guy you can count on to always put a show on for you at some points. I would love if he went tunneling claws one of these games. Like, maybe not like an all-in bust with the roaches, but just something to dance around the expected sentries that come out in the mid-game.
I know that Jadong has been like playing around with it on stream. Like, just it's pretty much the 11-minute max on roaches, so like no hydras. It's just like Wings Liberty, but you get the tumbling claws, and just he like out harasses Protosses that he meets.
Well, MaNa did unfortunately lock a probe behind the Stargate. I think it's stuck, but it does go for the Stargate opener on this one. It's probably going to be an Oracle, but I would love to see Phoenix just come out of this immediately this time. Oh, nice!
Yep.
So, okay, to talk about this a little bit, I do like watching Phoenixes a little more than Oracles. Oracles are kind of iffy on whether they get any damage done, and the scouting information they get through Revelation is great. There's no arguing against that, but the potential to actually use Phoenixes much greater, to actually harass, kill queens, kill probes. It looks like probe will be sacrificed. Heathen, get stuck behind the Stargate, will you?
Well, like I said, I like Oracle like on Stargates and PvZ from when they do like gateway pressures as well, and since he did Forge Fast Expand, he wouldn't have any extra gateways to do that, so I think Phoenixes would definitely be more probable, and as we see, that's exactly what he has gotten. Liquid TLO also scouts it with that Overlord. It's inevitable. You know, should be getting at least one Spore Crawler in every base.
Yeah, he's pretty. I like that he plays this safe too. I mean, you can kind of try going without them, but one sport caller will at least ward off most air aggression of any form, and it's not a big investment really. Of course, then you get the stubborn players who won't make any, much less two.
We have 3 gameways going down right here.
Yeah, I was gonna say the +1 weapon timing is gonna be great. One thing that I think MaNa's recognized is that TLO likes to play with his Lings in the early game, and TLO, however, is getting his armor upgrade, so the Zealots aren't gonna be able to two-shot them the way they want to, but it's still gonna make the push a little bit hard to deal with if MaNa goes for some proxies and starts warping like crazy. For now, though, we have to see on how he uses the Phoenix energy. Of course, if he starts going for drones, then chances are he's not going to follow up with a push. If he saves all this energy, though, doesn't kill anything, then you know he wants to use that energy on a push.
Yeah, isn't that Snoot like tweeted that and Jaden was like, thanks?
Oh, did he? I don't know. That's just something I picked up from casting way too many games. But if that's true, then that's awesome because it means I'm actually right, which is always a good feeling.
It's okay, Rifkin. You're always right in my heart. No, that didn't work out.
Nope, you said it. Can't take it back. Gonna cut that audio clip and put it on repeat.
If you were always right, people wouldn't be using your face when you're wrong.
Shut up, Zombie Grub! And I swear to God, if any of you put Ace Hung in chat right now, I'll kill you. But okay, we got the Colossus coming out after this. I really like this actually because it's the expected way to play this matchup. It's that typical trade. But TLO has not exactly been rushed into Hive in any series that I've cast him in recently, so I don't know if we'll necessarily get the Vipers quick enough to deal with this. Because again, Hydras are great, but not against Thermalance Colossus, and not when there's a lot of force fields available either.
Yeah. I really just think it's going to be like last game. He's going to like invest in this just a little bit and then just stockpile behind it and get a Spire. And, you know, MaNa did scout the Spire last time. He still had trouble against it. So that should be a good sign for TLO, right? Like, oh, he scouted it and he still had trouble?
I don't want to be in our Twitch chat anymore.
Oh, did they all do it?
Maybe. You suck. Okay, focusing on the game because I'm abandoning you all forever. Teal is actually, one thing, despite the fact that he's got the Phoenixes constantly harassing him, he's actually got quite a bit of map presence. Typically when this happens, you get someone locked down. You don't want your Hydras to get caught out by the Phoenixes because they do get picked off one at a time. As we see here for the reinforcements, exactly what's about to happen. Going to lose some Hydras to these Phoenix. That being said, Teal has already crossed the map with a large portion of them. He's got a lot of Zerglings here. I don't know if he'll be able to take on this base, but he'll get the sentries for sure if he wants to. Never mind, Zealots do connect, and he's got to use the Zerglings to buffer for this. There we go.
Colossus is still not out. It's so close to being done, as well as that +2 weapons.
The Phoenix, though.
The Phoenixes will help clean that up.
Yeah, really not good at Teal. Got nothing done with that push, unfortunately. He did kind of get his 4th down. I don't know. It didn't really pay off that push. It was a big, expensive investment to throw those Hydralisks away. If he had killed the 3rd, that would have been fantastic, of course. But MaNa, not someone to be caught off guard, didn't let that happen.
He's still producing Hydralisk, though, and he's going up to Hive. So I guess he's going to go for the Viper instead of, you know, a Spire, either for Corruptors or, of course, Milo Switch, which Vipers are also very, very good. Like, really good. And MaNa, you know, will he be expecting it? Will he have High Templars out in time for the feedbacks?
Yeah, that's always a bit of a tricky thing, too, because even if you do go for the High Templar for the feedbacks, you have to have them on the front lines, and if you do, that exposes them, and, well, quite frankly, sometimes the Lings and the Hydras will kill you before the Vipers even get in range. I don't know, do you think... What I like about TLO, what I frankly love about TLO, is he is one of the few Zerg players who is not only, adept at using them, but will go for Swarm Host if necessary. I feel it's almost too late, though, at this point, if he wants to make that... He's investing into the melee upgrades now, he's probably looking to do a late-game transition, but... I don't know, Swarm Hosts are so nasty to deal with.
A Swarm Host transition this late in the game, I guess...
No, I'm not talking like a full... Not even like a full transition, but I'm talking about adding like 5 or 10, to just constantly salt one base to keep MaNa locked in place so that TLO can then use the mobility of the Vipers and other things to walk around to the 3rd.
I think people were doing that back in the heart of the Swarm beta when people were still trying to figure out exactly how useful Swarm Hosts were, and then they were like trying to split them up. You know? I'm
not talking fire cake Swarm Hosts, all right? We're not talking 3-hour game Swarm Hosts. But no, with the melee upgrades, like I said, looks like people are gearing up for a different transition. The Ultralisk Cavern is on the way, and the one really nice thing about Ultralisks are, even unupgraded, as long as there's no Immortals, they run through anything on the ground that a Protoss player has.
The Vipers are out, by the way. They're now collecting energy. MaNa is pushing out. He has no High Templars for the feedbacks. Also, Ling run by.
I love this run by. It's a double run by, too. Going for the 3rd and going for the natural. Oh, wait, no. What? Surrounds the rocks and then backs off? Okay. Rock attack. Okay, whatever. TLO's going to need this back on, though, because, of course, the army has moved out, and it is coming up on his 4th base. Looks like he's just going to prompt this to go for a full-on attack instead. One cell here to guard the gates. This will be torn down pretty quickly. 3rd base has got a couple cannons defending it, but he's going to devote everything into pushing through that natural. Gets the upgrades, kind of nice, but I don't know if he's got enough at home to stop it at his doorstep. These are 3 Colossus. One of them's having a spaz out with its legs. Okay. Anyways, knocks down that base. TLO still in 3 bases. 6 Ultralisks on the way. If he fights in that natural choke, I don't know how well this will go for him.
Well, the Vipers are ready there, and they can be very key in this engagement, but the Ultralisks need to pop. Some pop from the 3rd, some pop from the natural. They could just
defeated by their own SimCity. He's choked in by his own Spore Crawler, actually. Beautiful recall, though. That will save him from the Ultras that came from the 3rd. The Hydras did knock down that natural base, and looks like they will move over to the 3rd. No, they're just going to try and kill what they can as they get out.
More Ultras were on the way for TLO. He only lost 1 base right there, and I think he kept, most, if not all, the drones alive off to the left. So really didn't lose that much.
He killed 26. He only lost 6 of his own. Not that bad. And, of course, the scary thing, though, by revealing the Ultras, I mean, he needed to, of course, but by revealing them, now MaNa's investing in the Immortals, which are not too bad. I would love, honestly, to see a Dark Shrine thrown down here, too. One thing TLO does not have is any Overseers, no detection. I mean, he's got static defense for the Spore Crawlers, but the Dark Templar hit about as hard as an Immortal does as far as it comes to taking out the Ultralisks.
Yeah. The High Templars are being warped in, though, and he's saving a few for the feedback, so at least with some good SimCity in the Immortals, you can take care of Ultralisks. Actually, it's almost a big common fault when Zergs just try and rush in with a bunch of Ultralisks, and they're torn apart because they go up a ramp and they're going to Archons or something like that.
He just abducted a Phoenix with no anti-air around. I don't know what he was doing. I think he's trying to save one of the other Vipers, maybe, but... the SimCity here, the 3rd, this choke is going to be really rough. He's got to break through these gateways because the Ultras can't really just push in. They're very clumsy units. They're very strong, but they're incredibly clumsy. Good
feedbacks go off on 3 of the 4 Vipers? Yeah, there's only 1 left with energy.
Yeah, this actually sends TLO back for the time being, but he's reestablishing his 4th. I would love to see him go for that double expand tactic again, just to take the extra bases for the sake of having them, but he is getting that Spire behind this, so... MaNa, who's now actually been focusing on getting Immortals out, getting things to deal with the Ultralisks and the Vipers, is going to be maybe caught off guard by an air swap later. I don't think that this would necessarily be Broodlords. I mean, Mutalisks are always good, but one thing we don't have at MaNa is a lot of anti-air. He's got a lot of Stalkers, sure, but those will go down to the Ultras and the Lings before they die.
Just doesn't have a lot of gas, you know? So, yeah, if you're investing a lot in Immortals and a counter Ultralisk army, then a Mutaswitch would be actually probably really good, but you need a lot of gas to do that, because it's got to be a lot very soon. You can't just, like, trickle in, or they're going to be able to swap too, you know? But MaNa, you know, good news is MaNa's been stuck on a 3 base for a really long time, and is only just now reestablishing as natural, so the economy of TLO is going to, like, grant him the benefit of, you know, tech switching whenever he wants.
Now Ling's going to get on top of this base. They will send a couple, or TLO will send a couple in to run past the army, but never mind, pulls it back. That cannon is a little too scary, I guess. Templar should be taken out here for free. There we go. There's not that many.
4. Okay.
There's not a lot of Colossus at this point either. So like an Abduct would be great to really just completely get rid of it. An Immortal that would get abducted too would actually go down rather quickly, considering that we get focus fired by a lot of Lings, Hydras, and Ultras. So while Blinding Cloud's going to be an option, I think Abducts might be better just depending on the precision. 3rd base from these Zealots is going to stay alive. There we go. Lings to get here in time. Adrenal Glands might not be done yet, but this is more than enough damage to save it. Where did those warp in from? Is there a pylon?
No, right? I was going to ask that. I think they just literally, he like shifted like around the map.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, upgrades currently...
Yeah, missile upgrade has never been started. It just started right now. So those Hydralisks have been really, like, not strong.
Well, he's been investing a lot into the Lings and the Ultras. I mean, even going for Adrenal Glands. The nice thing about Zerglings is, regardless of what tech path you've gone, they're a very quick reinforcement that you can just spam. Like, let's say your army's maxed out. You've got, like, 98 larvae between 7 bases. As soon as you lose that, the first thing you're going to do is hold the Z button and make, like, 90 Zerglings and try and just flood your opponents.
Oh, the Greater Spire. Yeah, Broodlords can be really tricky. I mean, he still has him pinned on 3 base, so MaNa really doesn't have enough to go up to, say, Tempests. He's going to have to rely on some good, I don't know, lucky Blink Thunders, but that's going to be so hard because you have Blinding Cloud too. It's almost impossible.
Yeah, this is just a terrible way to take a fight with these Ultras, but does force the fight. MaNa going to come right on in. Blinding Clouds go down a little bit uselessly, unfortunately, but still will push the army back down the ramp. Actually, I think that back. There's so many blinding clouds. This wasn't 1 or 2. This was like 6. Still trying to cut on top of this, though. The Ultras are they're getting shredded by these Immortals is the reality of it. Most of the army for MaNa has gone down, but so has a lot for TLO. The difference is he's making 25 Hydralisks and almost 30 more Lings behind this.
TLO is pretty okay with that. He's not quite maxed out, and he won't quite be, but he took out so much of MaNa's army that it was definitely favorable for him. Also producing some Corruptors, so he could also mix in those Broodlords we were talking about. No, he doesn't have the Vipers or Blinding Cloud, but they're still obviously very effective.
Summing up, look at the eastern half of the map, would you, real quick?
Oh god, he expanded everywhere.
He's taken all of the bases. This is actually a great move too, because while they might not be mining initially, because you don't want to overdrone at this point in the game, he's going to keep MaNa from expanding. MaNa's not going to take any ninja bases, because TLO will already have the hatcheries down, and even if he clears them up, that's another minute and a half. You have to wait for the creep to recede. So just by having these down and available, this is actually a great way to get some map control against someone who, well, won't let you spread creep very well.
And look at the left side. Like, that creep's going to be really helpful in, denying that fourth, either with Hydralisk or Lings. They have a stray Muta, by the way, just popping out for absolutely no reason. Like, joining the terrifying Zerg army.
Yeah. One Ultras will, of course, hold against these Zealots that have rushed in here. As these, of course, with 5 armor upgrades, well, 6 armor in total, don't take a lot of guff. Not from melee units, at least. The Broodlords are on their way. Now, Blink Stalkers are fantastic at dealing with this, but there's not a lot of Colossus available to melt those Broodlings, so the Blink Stalkers might blink underneath and kill a Broodlord or 2, but they will get overwhelmed very quickly. TLO, maybe a bit of a mistake revealing the Broodlord like that. I don't know.
I think he also revealed the other hatcheries by the drones. MaNa is not going to engage, however, wants to go maybe more for the throat, but TLO has a sick counterattack, already taken down the 4th, looking to go for the 3rd.
This is a real grab bag attack, too. Lings, Hydras, 1, Ultralisk, 1, Mutalisk.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah, it looks like it's enough to actually break this base for now. The MaNa who's gonna, well, actually we have a single Broodlord as well, so 1 of everything might not be too far off. MaNa should be able to hold this with some Warpins, but where the Warp is, he just doesn't have the money for it. Oh my god, I didn't realize how bad his mineral count was. He's got an awesome gas bank. But, okay, recalling. He's recalled.
The natural?
Yeah.
The 3rd's gonna go down.
This was the important base, but I don't think he knew if he could take that fight or not. Because, of course, you never know if the Colossus are going to be on the front lines or the back, right?
Yeah, that's true. Probably safer. But the 3rd, unfortunately, does go down, and that was really his mining base. The natural and the main are very, very low.
They're going to be done for completely in a second as far as minerals go. And, of course, TLO with all these extra bases, not going to be worrying about income anytime soon. He doesn't have a massive drone count. I mean, 61 is quite nice for where we are in the game, but it's not like he's oversaturated. It's not like he's got huge mineral bank. TLO's actually scraping by here with some perfect macro, constantly keeping his count low. But these Archons are going to catch the Hydra. So will that the Colossus. One single Corruptor. Again, TLO with his grab bag effective units takes out the Archons, and looks like the Colossus will go down to the Ultralisk, and the Immortals will fall too. This is actually not looking good for MaNa. This is a situation where TLO can trade. MaNa can't really.
MaNa unfortunately did not get the mining secret base of TLO on the bottom right. He got the other 2 bases that weren't mining, but got all these drones over there. So he's been on 5 base for quite a while, and could, if he wanted to, go ahead and re-expand again like he used to. Once he's maxed out and he has the money. Because right now he's trading so often that by this time usually you'd see 3K bank or something. But TLO's been trading all the time, so he doesn't have that bank.
Yeah, he's been constantly keeping MaNa back as much as he can. Resources lost is actually kind of insane right now when you look at both players. But more importantly than that, I want to point out, if TLO builds 1 Infestor and builds 1 Roach, he will literally have used every Zerg unit capable and available to him. Oh no, that's Swarmos too, my mistake. I was just looking at the units lost and saw that there's like a huge stretch of that town.
He did build a Roach Warren, just because.
Just because it might be enough. He gets a free Templar in the middle of the map, forces the Storm out too, costs some Lings, so maybe not so free anymore. But I was going to say, 243 Lings have died, 70 Hydralisks. I mean, this is insane how much has gone on in this game, and for neither player to be quite dead yet. But MaNa, of course, could lose to attrition before actual army value. Still mining off of 1 base, reestablishing this 3rd. Not the best situation to be in.
You know what? Oh, I was just going to say, MaNa doesn't have an observer. He just cranked 1 out. Like, TLO gets Burrow. He's going to be so annoying, like burrowing his actual army, burrowing those Lings over there, but Observer finally does pop out, and MaNa's thinking about harassment as well with a War Prism.
I think a big reason he hasn't though is because it's assumed, right? Like your opponent's going to have detection. That someone playing at this caliber, this level, there's no way they're so newbie, so to speak, to forget it. But of course, MaNa is not got a lot of detection, as you pointed out. Not calling him newbie, guys. Let's be very clear about that. I'm just saying it's just assumed that your opponent knows exactly what they're doing, and that's why we don't see a lot of these sort of cheekier cloak/burrow tactics. But fight in the middle of the map will not go in the favor of MaNa. Big abducts and those Colossus will knock them down, and that is really disheartening. There's an Immortal in this army, but it's not enough to deal with the Ultras, even coming from behind, boxed in now. Storms go down, and they do ignore armor, but Ultras have 500 health, so who cares as he continues to push forward.
Waiting for the Hydralisk to catch up through that time warp, and here they are. The Ultras will be kited all day, and what are they going to do against the Hydralisk?
There's drones on the front lines here, too. I just want to throw that out.
Drones! Drone
They actually almost killed one of the stalkers.
MaNa must be like, what the heck? And actually, they're trying to be transferred over to the top right. Maybe he thinks of that, maybe not. But his army is so small, it's just stalkers.
MaNa's actually not seen that base in the top right either. He's got no vision confirmation of it. He knows about the bottom. No, he doesn't even know about the very bottom right either. I mean, he sees the creep. He's got a guess, but this is such a terrible situation to be in. I mean, it's not that MaNa played this poorly. He's had great unit compositions for the majority of this game, reacted perfectly to everything TLO's thrown at him, despite the fact that TLO's literally thrown everything at him. But at the end of the day, if you can't mine, if you don't have an income, you can't compete, you can't trade, and that's kind of the situation MaNa's fallen into.
I honestly can't believe MaNa's survived this long on 3 base that has quickly become like 1 base. And I feel like it has to be soon.
The world record holder for the longest StarCraft 2 game in history has held on for this long versus Zerg.
On 3 base? The longest game had like 6 base. Whatever, man. Oh, GG.
Good game. That will bring us 2-1 now in favor of TLO. And holy schmoly, that's a lot of people on stream now. What's up, guys? 700 or 7,000, I guess, numbers, right? 7,500 of you tuning in. I hope you're having a great time. We're going to squeeze in some ads to give ourselves a small break in talking while we get the next game up. It'll either be Derelict or Yansu? No, Derelict or, sorry, Yansu or Akalon. Anyways, back in a sec.